Hi, this is Morbid Wedding. We are two sound designers and DAWless jammers based in Berlin, Germany. Today we would like to share with you a tutorial about the Beatstep Pro and the Korg sample, why those two machines are awesome together. Please hit that subscribe button to follow us for future tutorials and more DAWless jams. Let's get right into this tutorial. If you are already running the latest firmware version on the Beatstep Pro and already downloaded the MIDI control center, you can skip this step. If not, just hold on for a minute. I will show you exactly what you have to do to get up and running. For this tutorial, I have created a shortcut that opens the website you need to download the drivers from. I have provided the link in the description. Once the site has loaded, scroll down a little bit and you will see the Beatstep Pro firmware. After the version 2.00, they have enabled the synchronization with Volcas. I will show you later in the MIDI control center where you can set this up. Another useful function is the polymeter. I will show that later on in the video when I jam out a little bit. Very important is this function. This enables you to map each pad to a different MIDI channel. And why I recommend using the latest firmware version is the first function here. This is wonderful if you live jam, you're able to unmute individual drum tracks. As you can see, the new features introduced in the firmware update are really awesome. One more thing I would like to share with you guys is have a look at the Beatstep Pro cheat sheet manual. This is very nice. Basically, this one page printed out, it's A4, tells you exactly how to operate the Beatstep Pro if you're not very familiar with the device itself. This skips all the manual reading. It really shows you everything. It shows you the shift functions in light blue, so when you press shift and this button, it extends the sequence from 16 to 64 patterns, depends how many times you select or click on this button. It shows you all these blue things which are added, for example here, the polymeter on off. I will show you that as well later during the video when I actually jam with the Korg sample and the Beatstep Pro. This is a very nice A4 printable cheat sheet for the Beatstep Pro, highly recommended. I have it on my mobile phone, so sometimes I forget something, especially when I use this device as a controller. I hope you enjoy it as much as we do. To download the files, click on the icons, select your destination. I've chosen my desktop, press save. Now I scroll down to the MIDI control center. I'm a Windows guy, so I'm gonna go and click this button here. I chose desktop as well and hit save. Once the files have been downloaded, you can go ahead and install them. This is a very simple process. Run the installer and follow the on-screen instruction. During the process, it will install a USB driver. It is not needed to restart the computer afterwards, but I would still recommend doing so. After the setup is done, double-click on the MIDI control center. In my case, it gave me a small error message that my device has been disconnected, so I just went and I switched it on and off again, and then it found my Beatstep Pro. Here you can see the current firmware version. If you have to upgrade, select this file, select upgrade, choose the desktop firmware version you have, open it, and it will run. I'm not going to do this right now because mine is already running the latest firmware version. Let me show you the settings that we are using and you can use as well in your live setup. Head over to the device settings, scroll all the way down till you see the drum map. Set the drum map to custom. Let me head over to my Korg sample unit and show you how the MIDI is implemented. And then I head back into the software and show you how to set it up accordingly. Now that we see the hardware unit, let me show you how this interacts. Part 1 up till part 10. These are all MIDI channels. So that's why we're using the MIDI control center to tell the Beatstep Pro to trigger MIDI channel 1 if you hit part number 1, as it goes for 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 10. So let me jump back into the software and enable this. Now that we are back in the control center, select MIDI channel number 1 for pad number 1. Select MIDI channel number 2 for pad number 2. Do this for all 10 MIDI channels. Now the Korg Volca sample and the BeatStep Pro communicate. One more thing to look out for is when you scroll a little bit further up under the sync option, make sure that the clock in-out settings are set to 2 ppq. Now that we have set up the MIDI channels and pads in the MIDI control center, let's confirm that the BeatStep Pro and the Korg Volca sample talk to each other. Pad 1 triggers part 1 on the Korg Volca sample. Let's check the other ones. All 10 are working as they should, and now you can program a beat using the BeatStep Pro and the Korg Volca sample. Let's set the kick, very basic pattern, snare as well, hi-hat, let's do that as well, very basic. Alright, now I was mentioning before the polymeter. This is very easy to enable. Just press the drums or make sure that the drum track is selected, hold shift and press step 16. Now what I can do is I want the hi-hat not to run on 16 steps. I want it to have an odd number, for example 11. So all I do is I select last step and make sure it's 11. See, the hi-hat now has a different groove and a different pattern, so here you can start doing interesting things. Let's go to the snare and say I want to have the same. So last step, and I'm gonna give it a 9, which is like a real odd number. This rounds up the tutorial about the polymeter settings in the BeatStep Pro and how to use it with the Korg Volca sample. We hope to hear some of your jams and how you use the setup for your advantage. Thanks for watching and see you next time.